Alright everyone, it's time to do tech news because we like to do that every once in a while just to really get our geek on and really go the full dimension of geekiness. And for this final segment of this family-friendly episode, I have once again brought in Casual Mode sports correspondent Robert to help me geek out.
Hello everyone.
Alright, let's get this started with some very interesting news. Of course, recently in sports, we had the US and Japan going to duel against each other on the football pitch in the Women's World Cup. Well, they're getting ready to duel for supremacy yet again. Only this time, it's with giant robots. This story, courtesy of Ars Technica. Are you the sort of person who says to themselves, "Self, 2015 is all well and good with 3D printers and smartphones, but it's not really the future until we get giant fighting mechs"? Well, if you are, good news. The Megabots giant fighting mech that was seen at Maker Faire a few months ago is going to fight its Japanese rival for robot supremacy. At the end of June, Megabots challenged Suidobashi Heavy Industries, even for someone who's used to pronouncing Japanese like me, that's kind of hard to say, to a titanic duel of the titans via YouTube. And there is an enclosed video for that. This past weekend, Suidobashi Heavy Industries accepted in another video. The Megabots Mark II has a weight advantage going into the fight, tipping the scales at over 12,000 pounds, and is packing more firepower with paintball cannons that fire 3-pound paintballs at high speed. By contrast, Kurata's, the Japanese mech, is lighter, at 8,800 pounds, and will require a more suitable loadout for the battle. It's currently being equipped with BB-firing Gatling guns, which may have trouble denting the Mark II's armor. In accepting Megabots' challenge, Suidobashi's founder, Kogoro Kurata, cast shade on the newer robot. "Come on, guys," he said in his video response. "Make it cooler. Just building something huge and soaking guns on it? It's super American." Oh, snap, son.
Shots fired.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
And we also have our premise for Real Steel 2.
Indeed, although really these are more akin to the Mech Warrior video games, or the Warframes from that particular MMO than anything else. Still, that's going to be really, really, really interesting, and to be fair, they're not technically robots, they're more powered armor like what you would have seen maybe in the Aliens movies, except a lot bulkier than the ones driven by Ripley. So, even so, that'll be interesting to watch. Alright, for those of you Macophiles, you will be happy to know that the public betas for iOS 9 and OS 10 El Capitan have arrived this past week. Yep, much like it did with OS 10 Mavericks and OS 10 Yosemite, there is, of course, a public beta at OS 10 El Capitan that was announced at the Worldwide Developers Conference. And, of course, you can also go to Apple's website and sign up for a public beta for iOS 9 if you have an iPhone device or an iPad. So if you are of the Mac persuasion, there you go. You can go to the websites linked on the stories that we'll have in the show notes.
Okay, what's the difference between El Capitan and the other two?
Okay, Yosemite is the version that's just before this past one, El Capitan. Mavericks was the version of OS 10 just before that.
So the other two were basically tweaks, fixes of the first one.
Yes, basically. Instead of basically creating a whole new operating system, as Microsoft has tended to do, Mac OS has kept their OS 10 running for almost around about a decade and a half now, just by doing constant updates, some of which have done major upgrades to the operating system while keeping it basically the same. So alright, for those of you who are planning to get back to school laptops, if you are one who purchases the HP brand, we hope you either buy them now or wait until the latter half of August.
Like right before school starts.
Well, in some, for some of us, it starts in the middle of August, so this buying earlier probably would be a better idea. Because according to Engadget, HP is going to suspend shipment of its products for a week in August. According to the story, quote, "We hope you weren't dead set on getting that shiny new HP laptop in early August. HP is warning partners that it won't ship any orders to customers and resellers between August 1st and August 6th due to a shipping transition necessary for its upcoming split into two companies. You can still order whatever you like during that limbo period, but it won't start moving until August 7th at the earliest."
So if you're planning to buy a new laptop for college, you might want to go ahead and get it now.
Now, it should be noted that this will only affect corporate partners and resellers. If you are doing a simple order from HP.com, then that will remain the same. But if you're trying to order a bunch of laptops for a business, that's going to be a little bit of an issue. And part of the reason for that is that last October, and I only really just noticed this, HP has decided to split apart its home PC division and its business PC division into different companies. So you will still be able to have home products out of one division, and then corporate hardware will be devoted to its own as well. And apparently that's coming very soon because of this little shipping transition that is coming at the beginning of August. So be advised. Alrighty. Last but not least, e-cigarettes, kind of a little bit controversial, and we should note that if you are under the age of 18, you should not smoke or vape, because it's probably illegal in your state. In fact, it's more than likely illegal in your state. And aside from that, it's not really that great for your health anyway. But for those of you older listeners who are listening to this who are inclined to vape, you might want to consider quitting, because this does not seem kosher. There is a federal law in the works that could block Food and Drug Administration reviews on e-cigarettes. No, this is not a repeat from 1964. Congress has blocked a funding bill amendment that would have allowed the FDA to review and approve electronic cigarette brands before they hit market. Republican Andy Harris said, quote, "I think most people realize that they are less dangerous than cigarettes, and yet we're subjecting them to a higher level of regulation." However, the World Health Organization is now set against e-cigarettes, and early research has shown that vaping may have a toxic effect on lung cells. Good thing I quit. Huh. Well, aside from that, inhaling anything when you're trying to, build aerobic stamina, not really that great an idea, so it's kind of negatively affecting my ability to run. Anyway, continuing from the story, Democratic Republican Nita Lowey, who introduced the original amendment, said she was shocked by the objectionable decision to kill FDA pre-market in reviews, adding, "Many of these products are aimed at children." Thus the disclaimer that I did at the beginning. Her legislation would have made e-cigarettes substantially equivalent to regular tobacco products, as the FDA had requested. It also let the FDA review e-cigs that have been in the market since February 15, 2007. However, Republicans said that FDA pre-market reviews going back that far would drive companies out of business and possibly harm consumers using vaping as an aid to quit smoking. I wonder why it might possibly drive companies out of business. Well, aside from that, I wonder why those reviews could possibly threaten the business of e-cigarette companies.
Oh, that's right. It's the frickin' government.
Maybe there's something in e-cigarette liquid that's not kosher?
Apparently, because there may have been some stories in the news of some people getting sick from inhaling the liquids right out instead of...
And like I said, I've been on e-cigarettes myself, mostly because actually smoking actual cigarettes made me incredibly sick. But, I'd been on e-cigs for a while. And like I said, I honestly think it may have contributed to me having that large setback on my ability to run 5Ks for the longest time because of it having it almost as negative an effect on my lungs as regular smoking would have. And yes, there are none of the carcinogenic substances that are in cigarettes, but even so, this is still a very, very new technology, and I actually think that having FDA approval would be a better thing for the development of e-cigarettes than a negative thing. But what do I know? I'm not making money off of this. I'm not the one making money off of e-cigarettes, so what do I know?
You don't work for big tobacco either.
Anyway, that is tech news, and that is going to be the show. We would like to let you know that if there's anything you liked about this episode, anything you didn't like, as long as you're nice about it, you can drop us a line on any of our various different outlets. You can find all the relevant links at casualmodepodcast.com. Of course, we've got our YouTube page. You can subscribe there, youtube.com/c/casualmodepodcast. Much easier to remember name. We have unfortunately had to suspend Twitch streams for a while because of David having his personal issues, but you can go ahead and follow our Twitch at twitch.tv/casualmodepodcast. Once that resumes, you will be doing some Let's Plays with Petron. Maybe if I ever get technology where I can stream again, I might start doing some stuff on there as well. Of course, soundcloud.com/casualmode. We've got our Twitters. David's at ZeroSageHarpuia. I am at Shadowbird712.
And I am at RJ Kyle. And I also, since you're plugging everything, I'm going to plug my podcast because I've started to do a podcast myself. SoundCloud.com/Kyle's Comments. And you can also find me on Podcast Machine. Look for Kyle's Comments on there.
Yeah, that's Keil because our last name is spelled weird because our family is weird. Also German. Which is pretty much synonymous with weird. Anyway, thank you for bearing with us through this very weird show this week. Next week, probably going to be similarly weird, but at least I will be able to say words that I could not say around my niece and nephew again. Until next time, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Robert.
Later, y'all.
See ya.